Thompson here with RenewedLivingInc.com, where extraordinary health is made easy. I have my dear friend, Carl Thompson here, visiting with us. Hey, Carl, welcome to Shay Gibson.
Loving it.
I have been hearing you talk about something. You are really a water expert, and I could just listen to you all day. You have been bringing a phrase to us and to the people that you speak with that is water that works.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, it solves a big problem. And the challenge is that Cornell University now believes that 93% of us are chronically dehydrated. That's every day lacking the macronutrient water. We're deficient in that. So it's just like if you were trying to cook a recipe and every single day or every single time you had the wrong ingredients, it would never come out right. Well, all biochemical reactions in our body happen with the exchange of electrons and in water. So if we don't have water that's working for us, that's a big deal. You can have water in your body, but if you don't have water in your cells, you're not getting the benefit of the water. So that's water that works, is water that's highly bioavailable, water that's actually intracellular and in our cells, because that's where all the action happens.
So kind of like at its peak performance.
Yeah,
So,
you want it to be at its peak performance. And
we know that water brings nutrients into our body and takes the toxins out of us, into the cells and the toxins out of the cells. So you're saying if we could be drinking water and that's not happening?
oh yeah, there's a lot of people. A lot of people drink an abundance of water. The problem is the water's not bioavailable, so the water's not accepted by the body. For example,
So they're still toxic.
well, it can be toxic. You know, the first thing we want is water that works,
Right.
and then there's other properties of the water that we sort of
Right.
add on top of. So your body needs what it needs to do what it does. For example, if being into food, if we give our body an organic potato, it's going to make fuel with that. But if we give our body a potato chip, it's going to make a fat with that, because it says you can't fool the body at the cellular level, even though the packaging can say whatever. So basically what we have with water and what we want to try to get to, and there's a lot of huge science behind this. In 2003, so this is relatively recent,
Right.
a lot of medical professionals, a lot of health professionals just don't know this. An American scientist, Peter Agre, won the Nobel Prize for identifying how our cells get oxygen, nutrition, hydration into the cell, and then consequently flush fat and waste and toxins from the cell. And this is an example of an aquaporin. And what it is, it's at the cellular level. It's a little water channel that allows nutrition, hydration into the cell. And in the cell, we have a mitochondria. That's our little power plant. And it's generating an acidic waste as it's making energy for the cell. The problem is that waste is just accumulating in the cell unless there's new water to come in and flush it out. So new has to come in to flush the old out, and that's what's supposed to happen. The challenge is that the water has to get in, and the water for most people just isn't getting in. The water's not working. So what we need is water like our bodies evolved to appreciate water, and that's water with a negative electrical charge. So the lining of this aquaporin has a positive electrical charge, and as we know, opposites attract, right? Mm-hmm. So the aquaporin, each cell in our body, is searching for and yearning for and trying to draw in negatively charged water. Well, interestingly enough, water on Earth, the Earth has a negative electrical charge. Right. Water that's on the Earth and under the Earth is subject to that negative electrical charge. And interestingly enough, the negative would be drawn into the cell. So what we have is a condition where people are drinking a lot of water with a positive charge, and when it goes to enter the aquaporin says, hey, I see you there, but there's not enough electrons. I see a couple of electrons surrounded by a bunch of protons, and you could potentially be toxic, so I'm not going to allow you in to the aquaporin. So what ends up happening is, since it doesn't get absorbed, it just goes straight down to the stomach, and we have a water balloon. So we get that bloated, very full feeling, and that's why a lot of people don't like to drink water, because they're going, I feel full, I don't feel good. So, but when you drink the right water, it absorbs quickly into your cells, flushes fat and waste and toxins, and you just get that euphoric feeling because your body has what it needs to do what it does.
That's awesome. Thank you. So let's go on to some of the things that you can show us, and we have set this up for educational reasons, and share with us what we have here.
Well, so as an example, I mean, we want to, obviously, I'm going to pour some of these beverages. This is a soda, and then we have a Gatorade Sports Drink that we give our our kids, and sometimes we drink for recovery ourselves. Here's one of the most popular beverages in the world. It's Aquafina. This is Fiji water. Again, people think there's a lot of kind of it's expensive.
We don't know what we don't know, right?
Right. And then this is spring water. This is Arrowhead spring water. And a lot of times we think, well, these are on the better spectrum of things. And then this is some living water made by our Healthy Living Water appliance. And it's that appliance right there. And basically it's designed to just kind of recharge the water back to what our body appreciates as water. So this is one of the ways that I demonstrate this, because we have to get people to recognize, if you're going to drink water, doesn't it make sense to drink water that works?
Water that works.
So
we should have T-shirts made.
Water that works. So this is an ORP meter, and basically it measures protons and electrons. Whether a solution is an oxidant or an antioxidant, does it have a positive charge or a negative charge? So let's start with the soda, and what we're probably going to notice over here is it has a positive number. One is an oxidant, and two, just on the will it enter the aquaporin? Probably not with a high positive charge like that, right? Because the opposites attract, and our body's looking to draw negative in. So probably our cells are saying, hey, it's a good thing that this soda doesn't enter our cells. Okay? So that's the soda. Then we go to the Gatorade, and so that was a positive 300 near 350. This is a positive 349, 348, 347. It's a strong oxidant. In addition, it has a very high positive electrical charge. Now let's go to this water. This is one of the most popular waters in the world. Okay, it's not as oxidative as the soda or the sports drink. Obviously, it doesn't have the sugars and the other challenges with that. And this is clean water. Well, a lot of people think that clean water is healthy water, and there's a big difference between clean water and healthy water. So this is like a positive 337, 346, 347. It's a strong oxidant. We want antioxidant, right? We don't want to oxidize. We don't want to age faster.
We're all learning about antioxidants now.
Right. So it's oxidative water, and it has a positive electrical charge. That's a 350 positive charge. Then we're going to go to the Fiji water. Wow, 370, 360, now it's down to 335, 334. Still in the 300s on the positive side.
For Fiji?
For Fiji. So we're thinking, well, it's very expensive. So we're thinking, well, it must be very good, very clean. Well, here's what happens. Remember that Earth's negative electrical charge we were talking about? Well, in Fiji, this water was amazing. The problem is they took it away from the Earth's electromagnetic field. They put it on a boat. They shipped it across the ocean. It was subject to all kinds of heat in this, plastic container. So who knows what kind of EPA and stuff is in there now. But it's a positive 291. Water with a positive charge is not bioavailable. Then we're going to go to this spring water. Okay, well we would say that this is probably better than purified reverse osmosis waters, which are more acidic and oxidizing. But who would have figured this is a 275.
Spring water.
Spring water.
From a spring.
Positive charge 275. So basically what we have is all these waters, all these beverages have a positive charge. So that's going to go straight down to our stomach, but it's not being absorbed and recognized by the cell for cellular hydration. Then we're going to go to the living water. Now watch what happens. Just as soon as I stick this probe in, it's already jumped to a negative 230. Okay, so this is the only one that's an electron donor. It's the only beverage with a negative electrical charge. What this is water that works. This is water that our bodies evolved to appreciate, because in nature, we would get water from the ground, and water from the ground, freshly from the ground, had its negative electrical charge. Interestingly enough, if you have a well, and you draw water from your well, and I was to put this probe in it, it would have between a negative 20 and a negative 40 electrical charge. And some of the miraculous healing waters from around the world, Nadana, India, Lourdes, France, North now Germany, Chicotle, Mexico, those waters have a very strong negative electrical charge, which means they're very bioavailable to carry oxygen, nutrition, hydration in, flush fat and waste and toxins out. And as you know, if we can lighten that toxic burden and flush those toxins out, we can go a long way towards healing. Another thing I wanted to show you really quickly, and I'll take these down as just another example, is, and I do this, I use a tea bag.
Yes.
And just to demonstrate visually, because it's one thing to kind of get it conceptually, but we really want to see what's going on here. So I'm just going to use some of this purified water in these two glasses. And I'll let that sit right there. Just remember that that's the purified. And then in these two, I'll use our electrolytically reduced, which is the official medical term for it, water, scientific term I should say. And this is our living water generated by our living water appliance. So what I have is a tea bag, just regular green tea. And we probably shouldn't be able to make tea at room temperature. But one of the ways that I demonstrate this is think of this tea bag, the tea, is kind of like one of your cells.
Right.
And we've got to get the water in to flush the fat, waste, and toxins, and then get the nutrients, the nutrients out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip this just 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now we didn't make any tea.
We'd be here all day.
And we might not expect it yet. We'd probably be here all day. Now watch what happens when I go to the electrolytically reduced water made by the water ionizer. 1, 2, 3. Now I know what you're thinking. We got it wet in the first one, and that's what happened in the second one. Okay. So now we're going to go back to the regular water that most people are drinking. 1, 2, 3. Now we might have a little bit of might have fallen off, but basically our water forgot how to make tea. And then we're going to go back to the electrolytically reduced water generated by the living water appliance. 1, 2, 3. And so what you're looking at here is basically water that works versus water that doesn't work. And if you're going to drink water, doesn't it make sense to drink water that works? So this water has the ability to enter the tea bag, just like it has the ability to enter our cells.
Hence to hydrate us.
Exactly. And that's the solution. That's why so many of the major sports teams that we deal with, that the high-end professional athletes and celebrities, they're
actually using this appliance. So one of the other things that I've noticed working with a lot of athletes, and we both do, is that this also helps to flush out the lactic acid and all that, so it keeps us hydrating. So I often show athletes that this is like your muscles also. So the water that works will get into your muscles and hydrate everything and flush out that lactic acid. And that water, everybody in the gym, wherever they are, and walking around with this or this, that's why they're still having muscle pains and stuff and they're not recovering. Again, the cells, the muscles, the body at peak performance.
And that's what we want, is optimum physical and mental performance. And that's obtained when you're able to give your body what it needs to do what it does. This water is oxygen rich, it's antioxidant, it allows the body, the muscles to get more oxygen, so the muscles are able to go longer, stronger, and then you recover faster because the water is naturally alkaline. The alkalinity buffers the acid that's generated during the workout. So that's a lot of the benefit. And then we have this, so to make this, how do we make this stuff,
and
right?
Why do we have 2 things here?
Good question, good question. Well, this is filtration. And filtration and ionization are 2 entirely separate technologies. We did a lot of research and found that this is the best, highest rated filter in the world for the broadest and most contaminant removal. Part of our research, one of the things we realized is that this water ionization technology, and ionization is designed to emulate the water of the healthiest, longest living people. Again, it creates that strong negative electrical charge, which makes the water highly bioavailable to flush fat, waste, and toxins and carry oxygen, nutrition, hydration to the cell. But one of the things that happens when you use an appliance like this is if you have contaminants in the water to begin with, you could be making those contaminants more bioavailable as well and overriding our body's natural mechanism that keeps toxins out of our cells. So I was highly convicted once I recognized that, and I said I have to go on a journey, as we both did, to figure out how to take this wonderful water that comes to our home, which is inexpensive and super convenient, and then make it the cleanest water. And once we make it the cleanest water, now it's also important, we don't want to clean it too much because we're electrical and our bodies run on electrolytes. So things like reverse osmosis and distillation take all of the electrolytes out. So we need to figure out a way to clean the bad stuff out but leave the good stuff in, leave the living part of it. And then once we've cleaned the water, just like we bring our fruits and vegetables home and we clean them to get all the pesticides and chemicals out because we don't want that toxic load in our body, we then take and we run it through this appliance, the living water appliance, which gives it the most healthful properties. It oxygenates the water, gives it that strong negative electrical charge, which is just an anomaly at certain places around the world. And now we can get that strong negative electrical charge in the convenience of our home. So we want to make the cleanest water, the healthiest water, and it just diverts from your kitchen faucet. It's that simple.
Well, you know, when I was going through a health journey, beating stage 4 cancer without traditional protocols, one of the first things that came into my life in my research was the water. And everything started to balance, and that's when the miracles really started to happen. So, you know, originally I thought, well, it's so important for people that are facing any kind of a health crisis, and the more and more we learn is that it's all about disease prevention. So it's important for everybody to be using this. And this also is the kind of thing, because it's water and we drink water every day, all the time, there's no behavior modification. Right. If you turn on the faucet and get a glass of water, you have a choice. Either this or this. So this is so easy. It can be set up anywhere. It can go under the sink for those that want to have it away.
Good point.
And that's great, because we're finding, you know, a lot of people are short of space or really want it under the sink. So we have sourced with great extensive research from multiple companies to put it all together. But it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. It just matters that you're drinking water. Right. That works.
Again, all biochemical reactions happen in water. It's like every day we wonder why we don't feel great. It's because our body's needing something that it's not getting. It's just like you're making a recipe and you leave out a huge, ginormous ingredient.
And the cake doesn't rise.
Right.
You know? Right.
The other thing is, this only weighs 8 pounds. My wife and I travel. I have mine with me. In fact,
I've been on a cruise with you, were you?
This is my actual appliance. We just shot another video in your guest bathroom.
Right.
And you have it there for your guests, which is wonderful. It only weighs 8 pounds. I mean, it's and guarding your body from environmental toxicity is such an important thing. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing everything with us. I'm so glad that you came here, and we're really helping the folks that we speak with and part of our Renewed Living community, and it's really important to us. So again, I want to let everybody know that both of these are available on our website, renewedlivinginc.com, and please contact me with any questions that you have, anything that we can do to help. But so importantly, from our home to yours, we want to wish you a healthy and a grateful day.